everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at 6 different games here. I got a pile of 6 games, some good, some I don't like as much, but we're going to jump into them. So here we go. First, we have Regicide. I know I'm a little late on the Regicide train. This is a cooperative slash very popular solo game, a cooperative card game that you don't even need this to. You could just use a regular deck of cards to play. But I got a copy of this mostly because I'm going to play Regicide Legacy, and so I want to know how to play the base game first. So here's my thoughts. Let's get into it. So Regicide can be played with a regular deck of cards. This is a specifically made one just to make it look cool and everything, but it really is just a regular deck of cards along with a couple of jokers, the wilds, and then this is a useful piece of information to have. So in this game, you are basically using a deck of cards to defeat the bad guys, who are the kings, the face cards, the kings, the queens, and the jacks. And you're going to be putting them in a pile, kind of shuffled, where you'll have the 4 kings on the bottom, then the 4 queens, and on the top, you'll flip over the top jack, and you will fight that. How do you fight that? With the cards. So depending on the number of players in the game, let's say you're playing it solo, you would draw 8 cards, but there's going to be about 8 cards between a number of players. And you just fight them. And what you'll do on your turn is you will play a card. So let's say, for example, I play this card here. This is 10. It does 10 damage to this jack. Well, the jack has 20 health, so I'm only halfway to killing him. The jack then is going to hit me back for damage. And when you take damage, you'll discard those cards from your hand. So he hits me for 10. But what happens in this game is every card you play does special abilities. In this case, this one is going to block, well, 10 damage. Sometimes they let you draw more cards from the deck, which you need to do because that's the only way. This won't let me draw 5 cards up to a total of 8 surrounding the table. Sometimes they will heal cards. As you play cards, they get discarded. And then those cards, when you heal them, will get shuffled and put underneath your deck so that you can have them again. So you're going to hit it, it's going to hit you back. If at any point you don't have enough damage in your hand to do it, and this, again, if you're playing multiple players, if the person has enough damage, then you lose. Or if you need to play a card to attack the jack and you can't, you're just going to take damage from it, you'll lose. These can be played to help things out, and there's a couple other rules that can be done in the game, like you can play some cards together, as long as they're less than 10 to attack, and an ace can be added to anything. In fact, if I play an ace, I get both special abilities. Here, it's 10. 9 plus 1 is 10, but I'm blocking 10 damage, and I can draw up to 10 cards. If you kill something, it's discarded, and then the next one will come out. So you go through the jacks, and then eventually get to the queens, which have 30 health, and they attack for 15, and the kings 40 health and attack for 20. If you kill something exactly, it goes on top of your deck. If you don't, it goes into your discard pile. But again, you might see these come through again, and then you'll be able to use their attack against the bad guys. If you make it through all 4 jacks, queens, and kings, you win the game. This game is pretty interesting. It's very hard. So after I played this multiple times here now, and one thing I've learned is you need to keep cards in your hand that let you draw cards. That's a pretty big deal. I want to be honest, I've yet to beat regular Regicide. I have gotten to the second last king and almost had beaten him when I lost. But I feel like I'm getting better at it. Now, I like it. I like the concept a lot. It's, it takes you a while to remember what the special things do, but I gotta say, I'm going to be in a bit, it will take a while, reviewing Regicide Legacy, and that game, if you lose, and I've lost in that one too, has ways to mitigate that, which I find to be very interesting and fun, and it's much more enjoyable to me to go through and try to beat those missions. And it also looks even cooler. But this is a small deck of cards. You can try this out with a regular deck of cards. You can go online and find the rules. But I do enjoy it. It gives me this crunchy puzzle to work with. I think it's good solo and with other people. I'm preferring to play solo just because I think, I don't know, I just have fun sitting there trying to manipulate the cards and think about the numbers and the math. A little bit of card counting going on in it. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, but realize that the Legacy version will likely be higher when I get around to reviewing that. But it's a nice little package. Where is that? This is Where Is That Europa. I believe there's a Where Is That South America too. There's 2 of them out there. This is from Fractal Juegos. And this is a geography game. And no turn that dial, this is an interesting game. It reminds me a bit of Timeline. Let's take a look. At the beginning of the game, everyone is going to get a starting city that they'll place in front of them. And then you'll make a deck of cards. There's 12 for each player. You'll put out 1 card per player each round, and then players take turns going first. When it's your turn, you can draft any card you want. So let's say I take Barcelona, Spain. Now, I can put that on any side here. Now, I know for sure that it is not to the west of Portugal. I know it's to the east, so I'll put it over here. And then everyone will pick one, and you keep going on. Now, here, Seville and Barcelona, I'm not sure. Maybe Seville is underneath Barcelona, or is it above? Again, I'm not really sure of the thing of Spain, but as you take these, you're going to put them, as long as they touch another card, you can put them, and you're going to just continue to put them above. You can put one so that it pushes one. You can put it in between cards as you push them. At the end of the game, you're going to turn over your entire grid. And this will show you exactly where these cities are. And the way we see where they are is we're going to be using numbers here. So you'll do each column, and the orange numbers always need to be smaller. So in this case, 5 is smaller than 27. 27 is smaller than 96, but 96 is not smaller than 79, and 8 is not smaller than 5. Nope, nope, nope. I did a terrible job there. Then we go across. 6 is less than 7. 7 is less than 37. 37 is less than 44. I did much better across here. 24 is less than 58. 58 to 94. 94 and 99. And I get a bonus point here because 6 and 7 are only one number apart. And whoever has the most points for circles is the winner. You can also play where you add in, these are more difficult, you can also add in artifacts or specific places to go to. And these also have numbers on the back where they'll fit in the grid. Now, I want to say, first of all, that in that example, I threw a lot of cards together. So some of you are going to be like, wait a minute, did you even, do you know nothing about Europe? Well, yes, I do know nothing about Europe. But you can think about it. Here's the thing, though. You might go, I don't know much about geography, but you have some general, I would hope, that you know that Poland is west of England. But you are trying to put these cards in the right spot, and it's just kind of fun to fill in that grid. The game encourages you to fill in a square grid because if you do so, you have more circles, top to bottom and left to right. But getting them to get it correctly, sometimes you know exactly where one's going, but someone else drafts. It's always fun to go first. And it's a simple little game. It reminds me of games like Timeline a lot, where you're just trying to put cards together, you flip it over, and you see what happens. No harm, no foul. It's educational, too, but fun. Obviously, someone who might know the map of Europe really well might do better at this. But even then, I think you might struggle a bit sometimes going, wait a minute, where does this fit into this little grid I have? I like it. And I would always play with the monuments because that adds more haziness, which I think makes the game fun. So it'll be interesting to see how many of these get made. But this is a 7 out of 10. I like it. Connnect is a roll and write game in which you're making bubbles out of groups of numbers, or Tetris shapes, but here they want to call them bubbles. It says on the back, it's an abstract roll and write game. They don't even try. So let's take a look at it. So there's a bunch of cards out, and the main thing we want to focus on is the board here. At the beginning of the game, everyone is going to get some random numbers placed here. You can have different ones or the same, depending on what kind of game you want to play. When it's a player's turn, they're going to roll 3 dice. They're going to pick one die to be the zone. Let's say I say 1 is the zone. So I write 1 here, and then the other 2 numbers after that. So everyone is going to be working with the same thing, but you can do something different. So here in zone 1, I can write the numbers 1 and 5. So I might write the number 1 here and the number 5 there. You'll notice that now there are 2 1s next to each other. If you don't like the numbers rolled, you can always take some negative points at the end of the game. Every time you cross these off, you can change numbers into what you want. But what you're trying to get is you are trying to do a few things. One, if you fill in every number next to a dot, you'll fill that dot in. If you fill in all 3 dots, you'll get a line that's worth points. But more importantly, if you get a bunch of the same number or numbers that are ascending or descending, you can draw shapes around them. Now you'll notice here that these shapes can give you bonuses. 3s are going to give you bonuses whenever you finish one of these. You'll circle one of these boxes. They can give you free numbers to write in, or things that you can change, the numbers that the main person rolls, or get double points or what have you. 3s that give you that. 4s, the first person to do a 4 will get 4 points, and after that 1 point, or give you even better bonuses you can do. 5s are going to be these cards next to the board. And the first person to finish one of these is going to get a lot of points. And you'll mark that down, and you can try to get as many of these as you possibly can. And so that's how points are going to be given. There's also some bonus cards out here. And this one, for example, connect 3 bonuses with 1 less than 3 times on your 3s. And you can get bonus points for finishing these. These come from different decks, and you'll have 1 of each deck out there. After 12 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. Connnect is fine. There's some things I like about it. I like the idea of having a group and a number and, you know, I want to change a number. Sure, cross those things off, but the more of those you cross off, the more negatives you get. You get little shapes, big shapes. It just feels like I've seen this before. That's the biggest problem I have with this. Building those big 5 shapes, if someone else beats you to it, they're going to get more points and you're a little deflated and you've already been trying to build that shape. So now I guess I'll just make a 4 shape of that type and get some lesser points, things like that. It's fine. There's so many of these games out there, and I won't even remember how to play this in a few years. I'm going to have to look it up, and I think that's the problem with it. It's not bad. I enjoyed it, but I give it a 6 out of 10 just because I kind of been there, done that with these style games. I like the bright cover. I like the bubbles, but that doesn't really translate to the game. It's an interesting game to pass some time, but that's about it. 7th Inning Stretch is the solo game of the month here. This is a baseball-themed one. Something I've always was like, why do we do the 7th Inning Stretch? Halfway through the 7th inning, everyone stands up and they're singing and all kinds of kooky stuff, and you're like, the game is way more than half over. Why is this not done halfway? My dad told me to shut up and watch the baseball game, so I did. I love baseball, so I was very interested in this one. Let's take a look. Now, there's a lot of rules in the game, but it kind of has a very basic idea here. You're going to start with a basic team, and you're going to be, as the game goes by, adding different players to your team if you can. You'll also be playing against other team, and they're going to be rolling dice. The game is all about resource and kind of manipulation. You are only playing, when you play each game, you're only playing the last 3 innings of a game. It's 0 all the way up to that point in time. And what you do is you'll make your lineup. You'll then roll a 10-sided die to see where you start in that lineup. When it's a player's turn, you'll get the resource at the top. So this one here is going to give me 2 dice and a reroll token. And then it will also give you something that you need to do for them to get, this one here, to get a single. If you don't do it, or you choose not to even try to do it, to sacrifice it, then you're going to get nothing. You get an out. And you're going to keep track of all this information on these board to keep track of your outs and your hits and the different runners on board. And that's how you're going to be playing a game of baseball. When I look at the conditions reference card, I see that to score a single with him, I need 3 dice that are consecutive, 1, 2, and 3. Well, guess what? I don't have that at all with 2 dice, so he's an automatic out. The next die gives me another die. I can remove something from the active picture to sacrifice. That's another out. But now I have an extra die, and I can add or subtract 1 with that token. Now I can get, basically, looking here, I need 2 even values to get a single, or 3 even values to get a double. And that's what you're going to do. You're just going to keep going through till you get 3 outs, or till you get singles and push things home. There's some rules about rolling dice. You can push, you can try to steal bases, try to get extra things when you get a hit. But that's how you're going to play. Now, that's just the very basic. There's more. Like I said, you're going to be drafting players. You're going to have a pitcher who's going to do things. Here, the pitcher, you'll re-roll a dice against your opponents once per inning. You'll be playing different teams, and they're going to roll dice, and they're going to score runs equal to the length of the longest run minus 1 after 8 dice. And so that's sort of how the game plays. I don't like this game. I really don't. I think the main reason I don't like it is, there's 2 main reasons, but the main one is it doesn't feel like baseball. Why is Jamal Turner only good at singles and doubles? That's all he can get, or outs. I played lots of baseball games before, and the big, complicated ones often come down to you do all this stuff, and there's this charts and stuff, and then you roll some dice, and you're like, and this happens. But anything can happen. Any player can hit a home run. Any player can do this. And you say, well, Tom, they're condensing it down. Okay, fine. That just caused me to dislike it. But, okay, let's take a look at the game. I don't like the game either. I don't like this building a pool and then trying to roll a straight or things. It doesn't feel like baseball at all. But even when you take baseball out, I just don't find it to be an interesting game. You're trying to, you could sit there forever and build this line and go, okay, this follows this, follows this, follows this. In that example, I just kind of put them out at random. But you're trying to build a line of baseball. But I can't get over the baseball thing. Because you want to put your best, the guy who's always going to get hits, your leadoff batter, and your cleanup is in the 4th position, and your weaker hitters are in 7, 8, and 9, and you do something. I don't feel any of that in here. And then all the rules, they spend more time talking about what do you do when if you're going to try to get an extra base going around the corner. And who cares about any of that? And there's just so much luck involved in rolling the dice. So this is a 5 out of 10. I want to like this. I like the concept of it. Solo baseball, that's me, but not this one. I don't know how to pronounce this game. Planepita? It's a flicking game with magnets. Yes! Let's take a look. Each player gets their own spaceship, their launching pad, along with 4 aliens that they'll launch off it. One player goes first. Whoever has last has to put this little magnetic piece, last player, on one of their pieces. When you shoot, you're going to move. You have a certain amount of space, basically, depending on how many players are in the game, but you're just flicking your disc onto the board. And after you flip it onto the board, you can turn it over if you want to. You cannot do that if it's in the same zone as this. This right now is in the middle zone. This is in the inner zone. So as players get their pieces out on the board, any piece, of course, that comes off will get thrown into the black hole. But at the end of a round, let's say these are the pieces, and you might turn them up down like this. The first thing you'll do is you'll say, all right, this piece here is out along with every face-up piece in the same zone. Oops, that one is too. Then you'll take a look at each zone. So this one is in the outer zone, so they're going to get 3 points. In the inner zone, there's a tie. But if there wasn't a tie, because face-up counts as 2 for purposes of controlling a tie, and face-down counts as 1. But face-down is magnetic. You'll see that if I tilt the board here, the face-up pieces come off, the face-down ones stick on, because they're magnets. So they only count as 1, but the face-up count as 2. And whoever has the most will get points, 5, 4, 3. Although you'll never get all the points because this piece is going to destroy some unless, of course, this is knocked off the board. If nobody wins a section, then we'll add another scoring to it next time. So next round, that section gives more points. Whoever has the last person token, they can shoot on the board, but they're not allowed to flip it. That's the rule, because you also have kind of the last shot, so it kind of evens things out. After 4 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. Okay, this is kind of like a mini crokinole of sorts, and I think that's where this is at, right? I wouldn't compare it to the big ones, the big flicking games. But for a small flicking game with magnets, there's some interesting ideas here. You're flicking, and then you turn the disc over if you want to. When you turn it over, also other discs are bouncing off it. And then you're trying to be in the different areas and not have that black hole suck you up and get points. The points, 3, 4, and 5 for controlling the different regions is fine. I think they could have did points a little better. It's a little weird because the game could end with someone having 20 points to you have 3. But it's just fun to flick stuff with magnets. So good enough. And it's in a small package, not a high price point. So for that, I like it. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's nice. It's cute looking. It's an interesting concept of flipping them and turning them over. Not as big as the big boys, not as good as them, but for what you get, enjoyable. Cogs and Carts. Now, a couple things. First of all, this doesn't look great, this cover. They're showing you the pieces in it, but it kind of looks like something you get at an educational store. But also, Cogs. Does that make it a good game? Let's find out. At the beginning of the game, you're going to put 2 diamonds around every side of the board. There's always going to be 3 diamonds on the board. So at the beginning, I would take this 1, and it goes 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1 goes here. That's it. So on a player's turn, let's say it's Red's turn, you can take any tile you want. First, you can rotate tiles, and then you can reveal a tile. So Red will probably reveal this tile like this. Then Red will start driving. Hey, they landed here. They have to stop because there's no more track, but they get 5, which immediately puts the next one out on the board. As more and more tiles get revealed, remember at the beginning of your turn, you can rotate any way you want. So I might rotate like this and go, pick up this one, which immediately puts another one on the board. Keep going. Here I fly off the board, which means next turn I have to start and come back in the board on that side. Ooh, I didn't notice I went through this, and I would have got that one, which would bring another diamond on the board. There's always 3 on the board. Once all the diamonds are collected, whoever's collected the most wins. The numbers don't matter. I really like a lot of that things here in Cogs and Carts. The gameplay itself is great. The diamonds are showing up on the board. You rotate. You can rotate as far as you want. You follow that line, collect stuff. That's fun. There's a few caveats. First of all, the game starts real slow. You're turning a cog over, rotating, moving, slowly picking things up. But the more cogs that are open, the more interesting the game gets. It's also better at 2 than 4 because with 4, there's just so much chaos between your turns. The other issue I have is that the cogs, when you put them in, you really need to line them up perfectly. Since the cogs spin all the way around and they spin smoothly, it says, on your turn you can rotate a cog 45 degrees. Well, they also need to be lined up 45 degrees at a time. If I line it up where it is 15 degrees off, the lines don't match properly. You're like, what is the problem with this? Oh, this cog is slightly off. That happens a lot in this game. But taking that out, as a little feature, spinning things around, I was very amused with it. I think it was a really good 2-player game. Turning the cogs, moving stuff, it's fun. Like just moving the cogs and everything on the board moves, that's fun. It doesn't do a lot since every cog does the same, but you're just moping around. And there's a lot of these games you go around. So if you like Suro and things like that, I think you would enjoy this on top of that. So don't be fooled by the cover necessarily, although it does, I guess, show you exactly what's in the game. But I found it to be one that I liked, despite the quibbles I had with it. Another 7 out of 10. And there you go, folks. Hey, I liked most of the games today. That's nice. Well, that's not always going to happen. And you might disagree with my thoughts on these games anyway, good or bad. Tell me in the comments what you think about them. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this is 6 short game reviews on the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.